Okay, so I want to go ahead and just show a few little tricks that you guys can do to help you use a Google Meets, or if you're using multiple Google Meets at the same time for any reason. So where I'm doing breakouts, I'm using multiple rooms. There's other ways of using it. For example, if you're doing a recording of your class, but you don't want to have the students actually in that class while you do it, what you do is you open up another window of Google Meets. So I'll show you how to do that right now. I'm clicking into a new browser, I click into Meets, and then I can call this whatever I want. I can call this VVHS Roy Record. There we go. I now have my recording class open, and this one I'm not going to add any students to this class. It's just for recording. So when I join this class, I can now come down here, hit record Meet, and it's just only going to record my face. If you want to make sure that it also records presentations, you have to make sure that you also present in this one too. So for example, I'm going to put both of these Meets right next to each other. We have all of our class in this one. We're pretending like we do anyway. So I have all 12 of my kids in this small little class in here. I wish our classes were actually that size. And I opened up this side one right here, which is just recording my face right now. We open up, we hit record, and now up here in the top corner, it's saying record. So I know that it's recording the class. Say I'm in this class and I want to present. And so I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to present, and I go up and I click on the tab that I'm presenting. Then I also come to this one right here, and I hit present, and I can come up and I can say Chrome tab, and I can select that presentation, and it's now sharing that Chrome tab. So you can see how both classes would see the same thing. So if both of them are in that, they're both seeing the same thing. Just make sure you click on the same one so that it's recording for both. You'll have one where it's a class of no kids recorded. So if you needed to share it with others, you can do that. And then the other for you. Now, other reasons for using multiple rooms is if you are breaking your kids up into smaller groups, easier to manage, right? If you had 12 kids, it's pretty easy to manage, but most of us don't. We have like 30 kids. And so we have to break them up into smaller groups so that we can get participation, so that we can get them to actually partake in their education. So I use breakout rooms. So for this example, I created these 4 breakout rooms right here. And what kids have is a copy of this where there's a hyperlink in the pictures where they can click on the pictures and it takes them to them, or they can click and or they can click in and copy the address right here and paste it in to a group. So they come up, they open up a new tab, they're going to then join the Google Meet and paste it in. By doing that, they will automatically join that class that's already been created, right? So I've got this class right here, which is recording for me. I've got this one, which is me actually doing my demo for the kids. And then I say, okay, you guys, it's time for us to break out into rooms. I'm gonna come over here and click into my class. I've already got them set up and I've already randomized them into a random group. What I'm gonna do is just randomly select them. And where I only have 4 kids in my class today, rather than the full 16, you know, I already have the 4 that are missing removed so that they're not on here. And then I copy that link right there. And when I copy this and paste it over into our class chat, paste it in, and you see how it pasted everyone in that in those groups. Now there's random spaces in there. Normally what I do is I type a 0 in so that it gives a 0 value rather than a space so that the kids don't get confused on it. And so they know if they're in a group of 3, like this one right here, there's that 0 value so they see that the 4th person is missing, right? You can see how there's that 4th person right there. And so that's something I did wrong right there. I should have typed in that 0 value. Anyway, but kids can then count out and they say, okay, I'm number 3 in the apple pie group. And they can either go to the tab that they have with the quick link, click on it and join that apple pie group really quickly, or they can copy the link and paste it in to join that class. So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to work with multiple groups at the same time. So here is our class, right? I can see all my 12 kids. I'm going to bring it over and make it smaller. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the tab with all my kids. My kids have already broken out the rooms. And what we can do is you can hit the tab, the control tab to go through your groups. So you can see control tab, control tab, control tab. And each time I hit it, it's bouncing through the groups. You can see it going to each group as I'm hitting control tab. Me hitting control tab. So that's a little trick that you can do to just scroll through the groups. Now it only scrolls through one window. So you see how it wasn't scrolling through this window over here where we have our class. It only scrolls through the window that you're clicked into. So make sure you clicked into the one with all the different tabs for all your different meets. So after all my kids have broken out into rooms, I can double check to make sure that they're all there. So I'm going to hit Control Tab to go to the first room. I'm in the first room right now, and what I'm going to say is, hey guys, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. And so as I'm going, I'm seeing their thumbs up. What a responsive group. I've got one kid who hasn't unmuted them, hasn't turned on their screen yet, and I can get after that kid and say, hey, turn on your screen, Bobby. They turn on their screen and I can see them. By clicking through, I can see what they're talking, if they're talking, because their little mute thing will be off and the words will be going, things like that. Okay. Now, something you can do is you want to make sure that they can all hear you or that they can't hear you, depending on which classroom you are in. So, for example, in this class right here, you can see how you can't see it because it's stupid little share tabs in the way. So you can see down here how I have my camera, then there's the stop meeting call, and then there's that mute the mic, which is hiding behind my stop sharing button. And so you can see that how those three are down there. So you want to make sure that you are actually muted on. Something that I'll do is I'll click into my first tab, I'll come over here, and I'll hit unmute.
Unmute, and now all of them are unmuted.
And so they can all hear me over here, but if I have not muted myself right here, then they can still hear me from this one, and it creates a feedback loop on their side. So please make sure that you are taking care of that properly within your classes. Now, if you would like to be able to hear the students, which is something I want to be able to do, you have to be able to figure out how to mute and unmute them as well. And so what I'm going to go into is ways of doing that. One that I use as a default when I'm not testing out something else is I come over here to the sound bar, I drop the sound all the way to 0, and then I can
unmute all of them. So I'm going through and I'm unmuting all of them now.
So now they're all unmuted. Any voices that are coming back, if they were talking at that same time, is not going to re-feed back in and create a feedback loop. I can talk freely and they can all hear me. When I go back into my first group and start going through and muting myself again, now that they're all muted, I can come over here to the sound, turn the sound back on, and then I can listen to them as they are talking. So that's one way of doing it. Another way is downloading a tab for muting. So you can go over here to your extensions and you download a tab for muting. Now, I've tested out many of them. The biggest problem with most of them is that when you mute one, it mutes them all. And I have found a few that will do a decent job of muting and unmuting the whole thing, but ultimately they all suck. And I will go ahead and show you the best option here in a second. Another option is you come up here to the tab and you come down and you say mute site. When you mute site, now all of them are muted. All of the classes are muted just because they're all Google Meets. So they're all muted. But then I can come down and I can unmute site and you should be able to hear them again. Now there's also a problem if you have multiple tabs open. It's really slow at recognizing that you've changed it, so it might not change for you immediately. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you a Google breakout room download that they have created that actually does a really good job. And you can still use your Google breakout rooms the same way that I'm doing mine right here, or you can use the setup that they already have. Either or will work. And what's really cool is it works with both of them. Okay, guys, so I opened up this Google Meet breakout rooms right here. This one right here with this purple bee is one of the better setups that I've seen out of all of them. There's a few others, and they have a few applications of it that work well, but the real reason I like using this breakout room is because of the dashboard it gives you that works very well. And so you can add that to your Chrome. Remember that you have to open up new classes once you're set up, but you can have your main room set up into it, and then you can have all of your rooms already set up into the codes, which is pretty awesome.